Hi everyone, and welcome to Lipstick on a Rig. Today we're going to be making this very simple candy cane, and this is a part of my 4 skein Christmas challenge. So if you're interested in my other crochet tutorials in my Christmas playlist, then check the links in the description. And for this project, I'm working with some size 4 medium weight acrylic yarn, and this is just the Big Twist Value brand, and the color is cream. And I'm also using a size F or 5 or 3.75 millimeter crochet hook. And if you don't have a crochet hook of this exact size, that's fine, just get as close as you can. And we're going to begin by attaching the yarn to our crochet hook using a slip knot, and then we're going to chain 54. And once you have your 54 chains in place, then we're going to begin to place our bead stitches. So to do that, we're going to skip 4 of our stitches. And in the back loop only of our 5th stitch, we're going to place a double crochet stitch. And then working backwards, not in the stitch directly behind our double crochet, but in the one behind that, we're going to place a bead stitch. And we're going to work in the back loop only. So to do that, yarn over and insert your crochet hook in that back loop. Then we're going to yarn over and pull up through. And you want to pull this all the way up so that your crochet hook is back up at the top of your project. Then we're going to yarn over and reinsert our crochet hook back in that loop and yarn over and pull up through. And then one more time, we're going to yarn over and insert our crochet hook, and then yarn over and pull up through. And then we're going to yarn over and drop all the loops on our crochet hook. Then we're going to chain 1. And that's our first bead stitch of this row. So to place the rest of your bead stitches, you're going to skip 2 stitches. And in the back loop only of your 3rd stitch, you're going to place a double crochet. And so now we're going to place a bead stitch in this first skipped stitch. So this is not the stitch directly behind your double crochet, but the one behind that. And we're only working in the back loop. And we're going to yarn over and pull up through 3 times, and then we're going to yarn over and drop all the loops on our crochet hook, and then we're going to chain 1 to finish up our bead stitch. So we're going to go ahead and repeat that process going all the way down our row, and at the end of your row you should have 17 bead stitches. And in this very last stitch, in the back loop only, we're going to place a double crochet. And then we're going to chain 2 and turn our work. And from here, we're going to begin to place our bead stitches on top of our current beads. So you can see here that our bead stitches each have 3 stitches per bead. So we're going to place the bead stitches on top of our current beads by working in the 2nd stitch of our bead stitch. We're going to place our double crochet there. And then we're going to place our bead stitch in this first stitch. So right there. And so now we're going to repeat that process for our 2nd bead. So we're going to place our double crochet in the 2nd stitch of our bead, and this is the stitch directly on top of your bead. And then we're going to place our bead stitch in that stitch behind it. And once you have your first 2 bead stitches, then we're going to place 2 beads for these next 4 bead stitches. So I'll show you how to do that. We're going to begin by placing our first bead stitch like normal. And then we're going to place our next bead stitch in the gap between our beads and this very last stitch of our current bead. So we're going to place our double crochet right here in this large gap. And then working in this stitch behind it, and you might have to move your bead stitch around to actually see it, but it's right here. That's where we're going to place our bead. And so now you can see that we have 2 bead stitches where we had 1 in our previous row. So now we're going to repeat that process in our next 3 beads. So we should have a total of 10 bead stitches in our current row when we're done. And once you have your first 10 bead stitches, it should look something like this. So from here, we're going to go back to our original bead pattern, and we're going to place 1 bead stitch in each of our remaining beads until we get to the end of our row. And at the end of your row, you should have 21 bead stitches. And so from here, we're going to place a double crochet in the gap between this chain 2 and this bead stitch. And then we're going to cut off our yarn and hide our tails. And now we are done with our candy cane, and we can attach it to our next project, or it can just be a standalone candy cane. And this makes a super cute addition to my candy cane swirl wine tote. And if you're interested in the tutorial for this crochet wine tote, then check the links in the description because I will be releasing this video on Friday. Please let me know in the comments below if you experienced any issues while you were making this, and I will do my best to help you out. If this video helped you, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel, Lipstick on a Rig. Thank you so much for working with me, and I hope you have a wonderful, awesome day.